So, Ken, really excited to be speaking to you today about one of our secret babies, or what we call skunk works in HR, right?
Yes, very original, very unique to Unilever that it could set up a business like this.
Before we get there, Ken, first just share a little bit of your background.
I'm speaking to you from my farm, and I've got my collection of classic Porsches just down the stables there, and I've made enough money to retire. But here I am working for Leena Nair, being driven by a woman with a whip to create a new business for Unilever. So there must be something odd about me. I think it's because I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm so pleased that so many other people are going to experience this in their career now. When I was young, it wasn't fashionable to be this kind of person who wanted to create new things and set up a new business and take risks and change the world. It wasn't. People wanted to do things which were much more, I don't know, stable, secure, and it was going to look after you for 30 or 40 years. I never wanted to do that. So my career has been, I was lucky. I wasn't lucky. It was 79 when I graduated. It was Margaret Thatcher's recession. I worked in the docks. I worked in a car factory for 2 years. I got my break then working in marketing at 3M. And then it took off. Went to the London Business School on a leadership development course, and then thought, I'm going to set up my own business. That was when I was 30. And here I am, 64, and I have experienced 6 liquidity events, 1 IPO, 5 trade sales, and now I'm running a Unilever subsidiary. It's just been such a blast. It's been a great career. And I'm going out, this will be the last one, I promise. This is I promised my wife, this is the last business I'm going to set up. I'm going out on the best one, because who could turn down the offer to be the CEO of a Unilever tech spin-out startup company? Yeah, if that comes on your plate, you're going to eat it, aren't you? So that's a bit of my background. I'm a serial entrepreneur, startup person. I've done it the conventional way, and now I'm doing it in a global multinational, working for you, Leena.
Fabulous, Ken. I've been called 3 things today: a dragon, a Beyonce of HR, and lady with a whip. I think we're going to take bets on what sort of suits me best. But you've added to the list. Ken, I just wanted to share a little bit about how the planets got aligned in what was happening with our reward systems, in your presence, and a little bit of my ambition. I was very keen that we bring tech and digital into everything we do in HR. And Peter was responding marvelously by putting into place, our then Peter Newhouser, then head of reward, was putting into place all these systems that allowed us to do more with reward. I remember also having an ambition for HR becoming a revenue center. It's always the expense center, the cost center. Everything in HR seems like, one more cost thing. Anything you do for people doesn't feel like an investment, feels like a cost, at least in the way the traditional P&L account is created.
Yeah, that's the stereotype.
I was always keen to have HR be the front end of something that's revenue making. And then you came along and you sort of said, hey, you know what? The thing you're trying to create technologically and digitally does not exist outside. This platform you're trying to make in-house doesn't exist anywhere else. Wouldn't it be cool to see if we could be in service of others with the same needs? So that's my sort of memory of what I call the planets getting aligned, or things coming together, which you didn't predict earlier. Tell me your version of events.
Yeah, it's pretty close to yours. So it probably goes back a little further, because it's longer ago than you think that Peter first came to Unilever, looked at this enormous bill for people, this investment that Unilever makes in its very talented people. It runs at about 6 billion euros a year. And like every other global multinational, it's not one thing. You can't go to one system and get a breakdown of it by employee or business unit. Reward is divided in its salary, it's fixed, its benefits, its pensions, its shares, its flexible benefits. You acquire new companies, the systems don't talk to each other. So if you want to actually analyze that and understand where you're spending money, if you want to optimize it, your first job is to get it in one place so you can see it all. And Peter asked about it, wasn't there. You can't consolidate it. So Peter went to buy a system and found there wasn't one.
Yeah.
And actually, I'll show you this. I've got it in front of me. This is a market survey report we've just done of 300 global multinationals. And the first question on there is, have you got a real-time reward system which has all of the rewards, all types of reward for all employees in all countries, in all companies? Has your business got one of those? Because Unilever has, and 97% have not. It's just astonishing. We've got a sector here which is spending so much money, and it's not digitized at all. Sure, data's held digitally in different places, but it's not integrated, it's not converted, consolidated. You can't do much with it. So why not? Because it's so hard. And anybody with any intelligence would have thought, leave it to somebody else to do first. You know, Unilever, though, when Peter was there, it was his view was, well, Unilever's got lots of money, we'll do it. And the project was started, classic IT project started. Vendors said, yes, you can do that, you know, with their fingers crossed behind their back. A year into it, it wasn't going very well, you know, overspent, a bit late. And that was when I was invited in, because that's my background. It was like, review the project, tell us what to do. And I thought, usually you have to tell people to throw it away, yes, or start again, go to your lawyers. Actually, what I saw here was a great project with a great piece of technology. They just underestimated how hard it was. So what we did was bring the vendor, which at that time was Xerox, and Unilever together and said, let's just join these two teams. Let's make it one project. So no division between the supplier and the client. None of this contract variation, negotiation, no change orders. We just work as a team, and we will get this out. And we did. And then Peter and you said, would you stay on as the chairman of the project, which I did for 5 or 6 years. And then you said, well, we need to rewrite it in modern architecture. And you saw what that was going to cost. And that was the point where I said, if you're going to do that, then sell it to other companies. There's still nothing on the market. And that was when we started the second great journey, which was, how do you, so you've already developed an enterprise system. And with you, Peter, Graham, Pitcairn, Unilever's CEO, CFO, and a bunch of other people in Unilever, we stood the world upside down and got this business set up. It took a year because we were doing something completely new and against the culture of the business, but we set up a digital tech startup in one of the world's most respected, biggest global multinationals. It's incredible. And now I've just come off the phone this morning to Microsoft, where, you know, we've been authorized as a enterprise software partner. And this morning, there's 3 levels, you know, bronze, silver, gold. This morning we were told you've gone straight to gold. Yeah, Woo,
I didn't even know that.
It was so exciting to hear, because it's a recognition of like years and years of work, but it also says to the rest of the world, this is such a high quality system, and it's doing something which is so important, managing reward. Yeah, reward, to me, something that's really important, I know it is to you, Leena, is pay equity, fair pay, making sure that the organization is rewarding people appropriately and fairly and honestly. I just don't see how you can do that without a digital reward system. I really don't. And we're bringing that to the market. So, so great news. Yeah, we set up at.
Tell me more about this Microsoft accreditation. What does this mean? What is the gold?
Yeah, what does it mean? We've got an application. We understand what business users want in HR and reward. Microsoft wants to have more partners who are developing systems for business users based on their tech. Yep. So of course the the big platform Microsoft is pushing, and it's fueling its growth is Azure. Our system runs on Azure. In fact, one of the most important decisions we took was we're just going to use Microsoft for everything in the build. So we run on Azure. Active Directory for our access and security is on something like this. Sensitive information is absolutely fundamental. We, of course, make use of Office. Power BI is our reporting environment. You know that we developed a recognition system. We developed a recognition system for Unilever this year in less than 2 months.
Yes,
well, that's because we use Microsoft Power Apps. Yes. So choosing Microsoft as a set of building tools and architecture was really, we're never going to do anything else. It's the obvious thing to do. But now when we go to Microsoft and say, please, we'd like to be a partner, and they get their checklist out, it's like tick, 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 tick. You've done it all right. Yeah, it was just green lights the whole way through. What does it mean for us now? Well, we get badges, you know, Microsoft approved, Microsoft partner, but we will also get Microsoft sales team co-selling with us, so introducing us to Microsoft clients. Microsoft will have already, we've been talking about this morning, want to do customer case study. So I've already promised your time for that, Leena. So you'll be on camera again. So joint marketing as well. And I've also volunteered us to talk to other big global companies like Unilever, because I think they've all got what you had, which was incredible IP and value in-house, and imagination and creativity happening in places you don't expect it to happen. You know, expect new things to come out of R&D. You don't expect it to come out of HR, but it did. So that means, what do you do? Ignore it? Or do you say, actually, this was really innovative. This could change the world. It's new. I don't care if it came out of HR. We've got a duty to the shareholders to extract value wherever we create it. So we're going to create a business out of this. I think Microsoft can go to their other clients and say, have you got systems which you've developed internally, which were one-offs? Why don't you set up internal venture businesses like Unilever has? Because that level of innovation doesn't just come from tech startups externally. You do these things internally, and everybody wants to be an innovator now, don't they? Everybody wants to work in a small team creating something new. So why not encourage that? So we can take our story to Microsoft clients and tell that the business startup story too. And I think it's been, I hope you agree, I'll let you speak in a minute. I hope you agree it's been a learning exercise for Unilever too. I hope you think we didn't realize we could do it, but we have, and now we're going to do it again. Why spend billions acquiring startups when you can create your own startup mentality internally and give people that freedom and encouragement and the Unilever resource to start new things internally? Yeah,
absolutely.
And don't just look from R&D. There you go.
No, very well said, Ken. And I do think it's teaching us a hell of a lot of skills. It combines the strength of Unilever, which is the scale, which is its reputation, it's wanting to do the right thing, purpose-oriented agenda, and brings the agility and the speed and the risk everything, failure mindset of a startup. So I think it's taught me a hell of a lot, and it's taught everyone associated with the project so much and continues to teach us. Because also this was born in our view of the world. Our view of the world is that issues of fairness and social justice will become more important, which means things like gender pay equity, racial pay equity, living wages, which we've already committed to the world to do, will become more important. It is our view of the world that that people will work in more flexible ways, that the old traditional models of employment have broken, where everybody puts, 40-hour weeks, 40 weeks in a year, 40 years with one company. Those models are broken. And you know what? COVID has shown us that we were right,
Yes.
because
Yes.
it just
Yeah.
accelerated the future forward. So for me, uFlex is so much on trend because it's speaking to all the social justice things we believe in. Which is our sense of purpose. It's speaking to flexibility, which is the new norm for employee experience. And it's speaking to digital first, which is the mindset all of us needs to be in. So it ticks all the boxes for me.
Exactly. Unilever is so well placed for this. Now, it was a revolution that was a long while coming. We were talking about it years ago, and then COVID is tragic, but it's come along and it's taught us that we can change quickly. Nobody thought so many people would be working from home this time last year. Yet by the end of March last year, we discovered we could do it. I think business now realizes it can make big, massive changes. And I think what you're talking about with flexible contracts, that equals flexible rewards. And I've described how disparate and scattered reward systems are in big global multinationals. My message to anybody who's in your seat in a big global multinational is don't try and do what Unilever are doing until you've digitized reward, because you will just end up in a chaos of spreadsheets. So by digitizing reward, there's no limit to the creativity that you can put on personalized rewards for people. But if you do that, you've stepped outside of a structured framework, the grade and job description framework. And that is the framework we use for pay equity comparisons and pay ratios. So if you've personalized everything, if you made every job a cocktail of skills, then it's really hard to compare one unique job with another and one unique pay scheme with another for anybody else but Unilever, because we've digitized reward. And to me, it's just a data query. Yeah, Unilever can do it, whereas other companies can't.
Yeah.
So digitize, don't leave reward out there on its own in these legacy systems. So we're evangelists. Yeah,
it is, but it's an important thing because it should save hours for people working in HR and reward and line leaders. Because that's what inspires me, that if we can make their life easier because they find it easier to find reward information, find easier to report on reward, that's fantastic. Saving hours, making their life simple and effortless has to be one of the goals.
Yeah. So you more productivity from reward, but also, as we're always talking about it, aren't we? It's giving employees what employees need to feel valued by the company. Yeah. So what we're talking about now is you've got the tools to go and personalize. It will come that new landscape of work, and employees will be happier for it. But you have to make an investment in technology first. So what we're actually doing is using technology to change the world. Yeah, the right way round. You've got to get your technology in place first, then change the world. Don't rush out there with your big idea and then think, well, now you need to administrate it. People like me then have nervous breakdowns because you can't design these systems overnight. Yeah. So, you're well set up at Unilever. That's what we're doing here.
So how has it been, Ken, when you talk to clients and do your pitch? What's easy? What's difficult? What do they buy into? What do they not? Tell us a little more.
So I've done this 4 or 5 times over the last, probably nearer 30 years and 25 years. A whole new class of system. There wasn't one before. It's like you're going to a caveman and showing the caveman this is a rifle and put your bow and arrow away or something. Yeah, they like the bow and arrow, and they don't believe that a rifle's ever going to work. Yeah, so you're out there trying to do something which nobody else does, and people feel safety in numbers. So it's going to be hard. What's been different about going with that message in uFlexReward is people like you and Peter and Constantina can ring up your mates and say, why don't you talk to Ken? So I get in the door. Yeah, we've had no problem getting to see prospective clients, and in just over a year. Bear in mind, 6 months after startup, the whole world locked down. That was quite a shock. Bear in mind that we've got 71 prospects through to what I will call level 3 in the enterprise sales cycle. Yeah, so they've had a number of first meetings, we've had a demo, they like the demo, then we get to level 3, which is we call it a pilot. Actually, what we do in a pilot is just say, here's our system, play with our system. Yeah, so you can use it, you can do what you want with it, it's got our data in it, see what you think. That's level 3. Level 4 is evaluation, which is we will put your data in our system. Your data equals employee details, reward policies, reward data. It's about as radioactive as you can get, that kind of information. So we do really well up to level 3. Evaluation, at that point, the alarm bells go off. Procurement, legal, IT security, data security, everybody gets involved, because you can't risk having a data breach with that kind of information. So what we're actually doing is, like, so out of 71, I can't remember now, I can tell you how many people we've got through to the sort of level 4. Level 5 is business case, level 6 is contract. Yeah. Yes. So we're at 14 who are between level 4 and level 6. Enormous amount of work involved in selling enterprise software. I know big organizations have adopted the language of agile, but if I was to show you how long it takes a big company to buy an enterprise IT system, you would see something which has a timeline of, well, between 12 and 24 months. Yeah, because somebody has the idea, then you do some research, yeah, then you initiate a project, then you've got to build a business case that you take to financial approval, then you get approval, then you get a budget. You can't spend the budget this year, you spend it next year. Next year comes along, then you do 6 months of evaluating software vendors, you shortlist to 2, then you do contract negotiation. You're lucky to actually put functionality in people's hands within 2 years.
Yeah. One last question for you, Ken, before I ask you your favorite book from these massive number of books behind you. But I can see James has his hand up too. James, you wanted to ask something?
Yeah, I'm enjoying this conversation so much. I thought, let me jump in.
Go for it.
Please do.
It's a question to both of you, actually, and I guess so. Starting with Leena and then coming to Ken, Leena, if I was a regular person in a big company like Unilever, and I'm a regular person somewhere, and I really want to start something like a business within my organization. As a senior leader, how should I pitch to you? What is it that you would be looking for? Because I think it's useful for our audience to know the exact kind of steps to get started. And then the flip side of that for Ken is, what do you think would be useful skills and experiences to come with before you do that pitch with a senior leader like Leena?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You first, Leena.
Yeah. What I look for is a little bit of what I would say madness. Yeah, with due respect to you, Ken. I would look for that, madness or a sparkle in the eye, which shows a passion for the idea, the relentlessness that needs to go with hanging in with that idea. I would look at whether the person has done some research on what is the need he or she is trying to satisfy. What is the problem he's or she is trying to solve? So I would say first focus on the problem you're trying to solve for the people you're trying to solve it for. And then have that passion, the zeal, the twinkle in your eye, the sparkle in your eye that tells me that you believe in this so deeply that you're willing to risk a lot to get this going.
I think that's a great answer, and if I was Leena, that's what I'd be saying as well. So listen carefully to that. That's absolutely true. That's the way you've got to go along, and you can learn that. You're not just born with it. You can learn how to do that. From the answer from my side is I've worked a lot with VCs. Yeah, so I've worked a lot raising money in the traditional way for startups. And you talk to anybody who is a VC, and you say, well, what do you invest in then? And people come to me with their product ideas, and they want me to sort of I know, shake holy water on them and tell them it's great. It's not the idea. The idea isn't as important as you, the person. VCs always say this: we invest in people, not ideas. Yeah, everybody's got a good idea who comes here, but we invest in the people we think are going to do it. So you need that passion. Yeah. Even better if you've done it before, because then you've got a track record. Obviously, everybody who does this did it once for the first time. So you've got to do your homework. You've got to be able to answer any question. You've really got to be on the ball with the obvious things. But you have to be a person that other people believe in. Yeah. And you have to be willing to take risks. You have to put yourself out there. You've got to be willing to face rejection. Yeah. Now, what was the key thing that worked at Unilever? It was the same thing the other side. In Leena and Graham, we had two really senior executives who wanted to hear new stories and were willing to take risks and decide quickly. They were the two easiest meetings we had. They were like half-hour meetings of, yeah, go and do it. And then beneath that are lots of other people who make you turn circles, somersaults, jump through flaming hoops. They made us work harder. But Leena and Graham was like, yeah, I get it. Yeah, do it. Go and do it. Yeah. And of course, whenever I see Leena, it's then, have you done it yet? It's like, Leena, just give me a chance.
Ken, patience is not one of my virtues. I'm trying hard.
That's good.
I'm meditating a lot nowadays. I'm hoping it builds some patience.
Yeah. Impatience is a virtue.
Ken, so what's your favorite book? We are on our last question. What's from this?
There are so many. Yeah, I tell you what, it's
what should I be reading? Yeah, tell me.
It's this one here, Leena.
And
I know you've got it because I sent it to you.
Yes, you sent it to me. Lovely, lovely book.
I love it because it talks about how work has become too dominated by cognitive ability, and we need to find more time and space in our hearts, minds, and reward for people who work with their hands, people who work on craft, and people who work with their heart. So in the care industry, where it might not be very skilled, it's skilled in a different way. You don't have to go to Cambridge and get a PhD to be a nurse or a carer in a care home, but you do a really important job. So this book is about how we need to find more time and space and money for people outside of the the super brains that we all are. So it's
thank you so
Head,
much.
Hand and Heart by David Goodhart. There you go.
It's a lovely book, and he sent a lovely message, especially saying some nice words about you as well, Ken.
He did,
and so timely. We've seen the power of hearts.
Yes.
I mean, where would we be without our frontline staff, without our caring staff, without people who've taken the brunt of battling COVID on our behalf, people who've delivered to our homes, people who've looked after our, aged parents. Oh my God, people in hospitals. So I think it's a prophetic book. It has shown us the importance of hand and heart.
Yeah, but I've read all the others. Here's something. Do you know they're all I've got? This is how bad nerdy I am. They're all in a library system. They're all catalogued. And if I lent you a book, I would give you a date to return it by and fine you if you didn't.
And how many books do you have?
It's thousands. They're all, every wall in this room, they go up the stairs, they're in the lounge, they're everywhere. It's a luxury.
Give me a ballpark number. Is it like 1,000 or 5,000? Give me a ballpark number. How many books
about
do you
2,000. Very little fiction. It's nearly all reference work. So this is about inequality and poverty. This shelf here is about projects. This shelf is about lying. The technical books on lying. Professor Cicella Bock at Harvard philosophy professor wrote the definitive book on lying, because if you work in business, you hear so many lies. So I thought, I want to find out what's the mechanics of a lie. So I know the classification system. They're great. Books are my after my dog. my books are my best friends.
And Ken, I'll be waiting to have a glass of champagne when we have got our first signee.
It's not going to be long, Leena, and I will take great delight in joining you in that. Yes.
Yes, you will be opening that bottle of champagne while I drink it. So we'll look forward to that.
I presume that. Yeah. So
lovely talking.
So thank you, Leena. Great fun.
Not at all. Thank you so much.